Hello, welcome to natemareflix. I am Nate, you are you, and I've got a pretty exciting little titillating bit of Halloween Ends news for you. But first, remember when everybody in the Halloween horror community was talking about JLC's comments about how Halloween Ends is going to F you up and it's going to really anger people and it's going to prove divisive. Now, I didn't do a video about that because at the time I didn't read too much into it. I was pretty much like, this is what Jamie Lee Curtis does. I mean, she's an executive producer after all. She wants to protect the bottom line. She wants to have a great hefty box office. So she's going to say things that are going to stir the pot, generate clicks, get people talking about Halloween Ends and anticipating it and talking about what could she possibly mean. And I was like, I don't really need to be a part of that. I don't read too much into it. But now I think she may be telling the truth. And I think that's because in the past, she didn't take that angle. With Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, she was saying things like, these are the scariest horror movies of all time. These are the penultimate slashers. These are masterpiece films. And then the reception to Halloween Kills was mixed, to say the best. A lot of fans loved it, but just as many fans hated the movie. So now I think she's kind of leaning into that anger, and she's saying if that movie pissed you off, Halloween Ends is going to really trigger some of y'all. And I think that could prove true, because when you think about these movies, so often they are doing callbacks and they are doing references and allusions or straight up lifting from past films in the franchise. We know that David Gordon Green is all about it. And then on top of that, the director and writer has said that he wants to pay further homage to John Carpenter, this final film. There's going to be so much Christine in this movie, and we've talked about in the past what that could mean. But now, a lot of people are talking about how Halloween 4 could factor into the mix with this final film. And I was thinking about this idea where I was going to do a video about how all the different films could find themselves into this final bit of the trilogy. How you could see some Halloween 2, Halloween 3, Halloween 4, how they could all be induced into this third act of the trilogy. But Halloween 4, I can see why a lot of people are starting to chatter about how this is not just going to be involved a little bit. These won't just be little tiny Easter eggs. These have major effects on the plot. Halloween 4, you're going to see a bunch of it, and it's going to be pivotal, and it's going to shock you. And it's going to be part of why Jamie Lee Curtis is saying you're going to be pissed off. So what am I getting at here? Well, I think Allyson could very well become the next Jamie Lloyd. You remember in Halloween 4 at the end where there's that little transfer where it looked like Michael had been vanquished and the day was saved. Evil died that night. Well, as we know now, evil doesn't die on any night. And that evil is passed on to his niece, who then wanted to stab her foster mother at the end of the movie. Crazy plot twist. It worked for a lot of people, didn't for some people. I know for somebody like me, when I first saw that movie, it was my first Halloween movies, and it made me the horror fan I am today. So obviously that plot twist worked for me, and it's kind of crazy to think that it may be coming back. And some of you might be like, that's a reach. I haven't set that up at all. But I kind of beg to differ. Because when you look at the end of the first film, you look at Halloween 2018's final moments, they do this very purposeful shot of Allyson gripping the knife, and she's covered in blood. And I think that could be telling you where things are going. And then in Halloween Kills, they don't do a whole lot of character development. They don't do too much with her, but she is coming off as a bit unhinged. She is somebody who's lost her father. She ends up losing her mother in that movie. She loses her boyfriend. And she's getting bent in this type of fashion that Laurie Strode has come to be. She's almost like a Sarah Connor herself. She is a little badass who is uttering all these things about getting Michael and putting a stop to him. And now we're going to jump 4 years forward, and she's going to be just marinating in that vitriol and that anger that is just possessing her person. And then also think about this, because we talked about how this is going to be using some Christine influence, so much so that actually when John Carpenter saw the original script David Gordon Green did for Halloween Ends, he said, too much Christine. This is way too heavy. So what could that mean? Well, Christine is a movie about a supernatural car, an animate object, and the person around this car actually starts to change and be transformed and transferred into this evil presence himself by the car. He is corrupted by an inanimate object. So what if, think about it, we got to explain where Michael's been these last 4 years. What if while he was staring out of that window at the end of Halloween Kills, he became apprehended, he went back to an institution or a maximum security prison, some sort of facility like that, and somehow Allyson obtained his mask, that was out there. And so she's just had it in her possession for 4 years, marinating in this anger and all these hard feelings, and now that mask is maybe having some sort of influence on her. I think that this could be going on. This could happen because they've set up this mask to have something supernatural about it. When you look at 2018, everybody in the little sanitarium's yard there, they're all kind of chill. They're kind of to themselves. Then all of a sudden the podcasters, they pull up the old William Shatner mask and things go crazy. Shit hits the fan. All of a sudden, little dude over there with the umbrellas going, Figaro, Figaro, Figaro. It's getting nuts. Things are going haywire. You look at Halloween Kills. Michael is willing to take on people who just outnumber him by a large factor. We're talking like 20-1 here, but does he do it when his mask is off? No, he kind of surveys his situation and he's like, all right, y'all, just 1 second, just gonna grab my mask right here. And then he goes on to withstand a ton of damage that most people aren't walking away from, and they're definitely not getting up and slaying everyone else and protecting themselves. So there could be something going on with this mask that gives Michael some sort of power, some sort of superhuman ability, some sort of protection, and makes him transcend as he is killing. And now, if Allyson is in possession of this mask, you could see a little bit of that Christine-like effect. That may have been the element that John Carpenter's like, I see what you did here. I see what you did here. Love it, hate it, too much, too strong. Maybe that is what is going on here. And you get a little bit of a Season of the Witch little flair thing too, because it's the mask. And think about it, Season of the Witch, the mask is all about that. We know the radio tower is going to factor in somehow. We know that from Michael's room, or should I say Judith Meyer's room, where Michael looked out the window, you had a view of the tower. Maybe something is going on to where that tower is signaling to him, and there you have a little bit of Season of the Witch, and you're going to get some Halloween 4, because Allyson is going to make that turn. She's going to go to do whatever it takes to kill Michael in Halloween Ends. And maybe Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode, has finally evolved and had some growth to realize that Michael was never after her in the first place. She always thought that he was, that he had his eyes set on her, but he was just on a collision course with her because everyone else kept setting him on that path like Dr. Sartain. Now that she knows that that is not true and that she has lost so much, it may not be worth it to her to continue down this road. She may want to just live and bask in the glory of her golden years as best she can. And that's not going to sit right with a young, angry Allyson who wants revenge on Michael Myers. So maybe at some point you get a showdown between Laurie and between Michael, and it looks like that's that. Looks like Michael is down for the count. Maybe his mask has come off, and now because it has that sort of Season of the Witch, or, you know, there's something supernatural going on there, and you have this Allyson character who's going to be the new Jamie, maybe the mask somehow beckons to her, and she does something to intervene, and she ends up killing off Laurie because Laurie is standing in the way between her and Michael Myers. Maybe Laurie has evolved to a point that she doesn't want to see any more senseless murder. She doesn't want Allyson to become Laurie and just waste away her life in the way that Laurie Strode has. So Alan just spirals out of control and starts slaying her mother, or grandmother, I should say. I think that would really bother some people. I think other people would be like, whoa, you swung for the fences. Maybe parts didn't work for me. Maybe all of it worked for me, but I praise you for it. Way to make this last film count. I don't know. These are all just ideas coming to you from the mind of a fanboy who's kind of reading the tea leaves and reading all these little news updates and things and listening to what JLC has to say and what David Gordon Green has to say, what John Carpenter has to say. I'm saying, maybe this is where we are headed. Maybe we're going to do callbacks to Halloween 4 and Season of the Witch. And my biggest problem with this would be that, yes, we've kind of set it up. We talked about Allyson with the knife. We talked about all of that. But is that really enough? Shouldn't we have given her more in Halloween Kills to see this sort of transfer, to see this sort of transformation, this evolution to a crazed, evil, bloodlusting Allyson? I feel like we could have used a little bit more, because right now, if it goes this way, we have a trilogy in which 2018 felt like a return to form, just doing the basics and doing it well. And then Halloween Kills was just a little bit of filler, just trying to get you there to the next movie, and we'll just do a slasher palooza with blood and guts flying everywhere, but not a whole lot of substance. And then in our third movie, out of nowhere, we're going to get real ambitious and crazy and just throw all of our big ideas at the wall and see if anything sticks and leave it on that note. I don't know that I like that. It just feels like things were never truly planned out, that we never had a big idea of, okay, this film, that film, that film. That's how we tell our story. No, we had one movie, maybe they'll give us another. Oh, you greenlit us? Cool. This is our story. This is what we're going to do for the next 2 movies. Oh, actually, let's rework the ending of Halloween Kills. Now let's do a time jump. Oh, let's throw in Christine. Let's do this. And it seems like we're just making stuff up as we go and firing from the hip and trying to do whatever we can to call back to Halloween lore and to do all sorts of praise and homage and respect due, paying to John Carpenter. It's a lot of well-intentioned stuff. But, you know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. What do you guys think of these ideas? Do you want to see Allyson slay Laurie Strode or get in the way of her taking on Michael? Do you want to see her become the next Jamie Lloyd-like character? Do you want to see that plot twist re-engineered and recycled? How do you think the season of the witch thing might go down? Do you think it'll be left out of this movie entirely? Or are you like others that think, you know, maybe they'll kind of allude to it in this movie, but really that's what comes next. We're going to put a cap on things here with this trilogy, and next is not more Michael Myers. We're going to finally launch a Halloween anthology. Let me know your thoughts down below. Be sure to do all that YouTube, yada, yada, yada. You know, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, one more thing. Have yourself a great day. I'm Nate for natemareflix saying that's a wrap.